If you were to take a side road off the main highway, travel about 15 to 20 minutes through thick, dense woods, you would arrive at a clearing, and in the center of the clearing, you would find my home. Yeah, it's pretty quaint, but there's perks to living in the middle of nowhere by yourself, despite the constant fear that you're being watched, of course. It's often very peaceful. I'm able to nap and get work done without the noisy neighbors, traffic, or construction sounds. It's just me, nature, and maybe the ever so common bear. One night, I was sitting at home, watching TV, or should I say flipping through the TV channels, trying to find something decent to watch. I didn't want to watch the news yet again, and I also didn't want to watch a show that had been going on for 3 or 4 seasons that I had never heard of. So, when I got frustrated enough, I simply turned off the TV entirely. I just sat in the dark for maybe 5 minutes. I looked outside at the moon that was causing a shadow to fall on the trees. The trees that were roughly a mile away from my home, as, like I mentioned, I lived in the middle of nowhere. Then, I noticed a mass that was maybe half of the way between my house and the trees. It looked like it could have been a small bear, maybe a raccoon from this distance, or maybe a person. I wasn't sure of what it was, but I decided to flick on the lights to make it go away. Usually these animals and things don't like human interaction and don't like bright lights, especially at nighttime. After I flicked on the lights, I decided I would go into the kitchen and get my phone just in case I needed to call any animal services. About 5 minutes later, the power to my home completely shut off, and I was left in the dark. I wanted to check the power box, but I was too afraid. I didn't want to get mauled or something, so I sat in the darkness. Then, I heard the creak, an all too familiar creak. It was the back door, the door to my patio. I typically would leave it unlocked, as I would watch the sunset on the patio and then come in for the night. I didn't do that tonight as I was watching TV and completely forgot to lock the door. So, whatever it was in my home now. Still in the kitchen, I grabbed the knife and put it in front of me, arming myself. I dialed 911 on the cell phone and put it to my ear. The operator told me to find somewhere to hide and remain quiet. As I was ascending my staircase to my bedroom, I made a very bad choice. I put the phone to my side and yelled, "I will find you!" Of course, trying to intimidate a potential stranger in my home. The operator told me to stay quiet. I didn't listen. I got in my bedroom, locked the door, and got into my closet, knife in hand. As the operator was silent for a moment, I took the time to put my eye to the crack in the closet door and look through the darkness. I couldn't make out any particular shape. Then, I heard a shrill voice whisper in my left ear, "No, now I found you." I hate when the power goes out, and it just did. You see, my parents went on a business trip, of course, and I was left alone at home. I wasn't planning on doing homework or reading or anything like that, so I snuck into the den even though my parents told me not to, and turned on a video game. I don't even remember what it was now because, well, the power's off. I hate these power surges. They happen every once in a while. There's construction going on maybe a mile or two from our home. So here I am, sitting in the dark, and I hear a cough. Just one cough. That wasn't mine. Coming from upstairs. I froze. I knew I was safe because I had locked the door to the den. But why a cough? Then, I heard repeated coughs, coughing continuously upstairs. I didn't have a weapon, other than, of course, a baseball bat, which we kept underneath the couch. So I, of course, being a teenage boy like I am, armed myself with the bat and slowly made my way upstairs, unlocking and unhinging the den door, pushing it open. As I searched, I couldn't find anything or anyone that would be making a strange coughing noise. That is until I entered my parents' bedroom. What I saw was absolutely horrifying. The window was smashed, and there was a bloody man laying on the ground, coughing. He was maybe in his 60s. I slowly approached the man who was coughing. I didn't know what to say. All that came out was, "Why are you in my home? Who are you?" He let out a soft, gargled, "Help me." I said, "From what? What did this to you?" His finger pointed behind me. It's behind you. On the ceiling. It's one thing to babysit kids, but it's a whole other thing to be babysat yourself. Especially when you're a guy and you're 15 years old. Yeah, my parents went out for a date night tonight, and that means I had the home to myself. At least, that is, until my grandpa came over. My grandpa, well, ever since my grandma passed away, really wants to bond with me. Every time my parents have these date nights, he likes to come over and play board games and tag with me. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of date night. For what time I did have, I managed to scroll through quite a good amount of social media. And while I was sitting on my bed, I heard the doorbell ring. Of course, my time of peace and relaxation was over. I went to the front door and swung it open, and there was my grandpa. "Good to see you, boy," he said as he kissed me on the head. "Hi, Papa," I said. He came in and had, of course, his array of board games and other novelties, and a strange box, which I wasn't sure of what it was. Regardless, he told me he wanted to play a different game tonight. I said I was intrigued, and he said, "Tonight, son, we're gonna play hide and seek." Hide and seek, I thought. I played that, in 5th grade? I don't play hide and seek anymore. But I figured he was probably out of it and that I should just play along with him. I said, "Okay, you hide and I'll come find you." So he walked off into the darkness of my home, As I sat there, of course, going back on social media while tediously counting. As I was counting and scrolling through my phone, however, I received a phone call from my grandpa. Papa lit up on my phone. I slid over and answered the call. "Are you hiding yet?" I said. In a whisper voice, my papa came over the phone. "Whatever he's telling you, he's lying. He looks like me, but son, that's not me." I hate being woken up from deep sleep, especially when it's 2 a.m. But a girl needs her beauty sleep. I put on my pajamas and made my way to the front door. But when I realized that there was a police officer in uniform on the other side, I knew something was serious. I opened the door and said good morning. "Good morning, ma'am," the officer said. "Sorry to bother you at such an early hour. We're trying to apprehend a man that we believe is in this area. Would you mind if we had a look around the premises?" I shrugged. Not at all. He excused himself and let himself in, and began searching around my home. I giggled to myself as I knew that there was no one in my home. I had alarms on all the windows and doors. But I'm glad he was here. I didn't have any weapons to defend myself, and I'm not too strong, especially when I'm groggy like this in the morning. I do recall, however, reading an article online about a serial killer who was in the area. About a month back, he struck and killed a woman in her own home. So I was glad that the police were on top of this. I made a quick Google search, looking up the name of my city and killer next to it. Of course, the first article said, "Serial killer has yet been brought to justice." I opened the article, and it read, "Serial killer strikes again. This time in, well, insert the name of the city next to mine." It said that he was a large man, roughly 6'2". It said that he had blue eyes and often wore a police uniform. I then heard the front door close and the lights go out.